Kasongo ye Mombari nanga Kasongo mbona wewe Kasongo ye Mombari nanga Kasongo mbona wewe Songa libala oh yeah.
I'm only saying simply, let's be responsible. We do not want to think about switching off people because the capacity is there. I would want us to be responsible on social media. Instead of putting me in a coffin and displaying me out there, why don't you just tell me what you want? Why can't we have a discussion between yourselves and us? And we also know that Kenya has freedom of expression, but that freedom is limited to the extent it interferes with other people's freedoms. So your freedom stops where mine starts. As long as we understand those are the rules of the game, let's have fun. Let people talk to each other. I am not one who would want to gag people from saying what they want to say, as long as what they're saying is responsible. It's just common sense, isn't it? I gave an example. You put me in a coffin today because I'm over 60, right? I have children, they will see that. How do they feel? You are 20 now, you get a baby today, 20 years from now you'll be 40. You're put in a coffin, what will your children say? You'll see the kind of pornography that is available right now on social media. And your children, 6 years, 7 years, 9 years, are watching it. What happens in a bedroom in Nairobi where you have 2-bedroom house, your mother and father in one, and the children in the other, and they are boys and girls with such pornography? What do you expect to come out of that room? And this is just human beings. We just need to be human beings. We just need to be responsible. And that's it. Those are the rules of the game.
Go ahead.
Thank you. On the issue of challenges on cyber attacks, this is a world phenomenon today. But other countries in the world have engaged professionally so that some of these things can be curbed through legislation. And it's a continuous process because the attacks are getting more and more serious because of AI, because both AI is good and is bad in terms of how we use AI. But the challenges are real, and the only thing is to be able to put resourceful people and money in terms of developing firewalls and things like that that will stop cyber attacks. And in real time. And this would be difficult given the status of our country in terms of use of where we talk of things that have already happened. And that is why it's important to have digital information available in real time so that decisions can be made in real time. And that is possible. Social media, misinformation, and things like that. Apparently, this is happening again in the whole world, where very energetic young men and women on social media take to social media to send information, some fake, some real, some by use of AI. They could easily get my picture as KABOGO and use it to spread fake news as it is me who is saying. Suffice to say, Mheshimiwa, that the laws are there. We have, for example, the computer misuse and that law that governs such misuse is just a part of enforcement that needs to be improved, and also regular review of the law, but also cognizant of the fact that there is freedom of expression in Kenya. And we have to strike a balance so that the freedom of one is not used to infringe on the freedom of others. But more so, we should be thinking about engaging the younger generations, the Gen Zs, the millennials, on how to have ethical use of cyber space or internet space.
Social media was here way before you were here, Murkomen. Raymond Omolo has also entered this chat. Should have a physical office. Excuse you, you put yourself on X. That's your boss. You see what you're trying to do. You don't like the fact that this generation is not stupid. It bothers you. This is not the generation where you just feed them everything that's on TV and they'd be like, TV imesema. This is a generation where people are willing to sit down and think, why does this person have to say this? This is a generation where people can come collectively and look at something objectively and make decisions, something you people have failed to do. You have failed to do that for this country. Whether it is SHA, whether it was whatever decision you were making with JKI, you have failed. You have consistently failed in whatever docket you have sat in, Murkomen. Nothing. Zero. You can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. Take your phone and uninstall X. Uhuru simply ola, hapa kuna hit nyingi, mimi nimejitoa. He did not come and start saying that, oh, the owner of Twitter must make sure he has a physical office because you want to control narratives. Because you want to control the upcoming elections. You people have single-handedly destroyed your own image in the international community. Even in terms of abductions, the faces have been revealed. The whole world knows. The whole of Africa, East Africa knows who is behind what, and you don't like it. And so, rather than take responsibility, you take it out on the young people. Oh yeah, I forget, democracy is about finding somebody to blame. And because you cannot point the finger at yourselves, you're coming down at the young people. Oh, hey, muko hapo mnapigana na watoto. That's because younger people are mentally awake and do not just take politicians for their word. Because that's what things that are more important, like healthcare. Hamjali. You want to go and sit down and discuss how to regulate social media? Wazee, old people, because their egos are hurt, fragile egos, specks of dust. Oh, get over yourselves.
From the Honorable Junet, a question I have dealt with all my life since that fateful day when Professor Saitoti, the late, dropped names of MPs as suspected drug dealers. I want to say here on record, Mr. Speaker, I have never, ever dealt with drugs of any kind all my life. Mr. Speaker, this
not even Panadol?
Mr. Speaker, I do not imagine that Junet Mohammed was asking about Panadol. I have some in my pocket if it's just Panadol. But I know he's talking about hard.
You know what he meant.
He's talking about hard drugs, cocaine, and the rest. And this is a very disturbing subject, Mr. Speaker. But I invite Kenyans also to have a look at the dossier that Mr. Saitoti brought to the House. It's a dossier such that, Mr. Speaker, if it was given to Inspector Mwala, it would not pass Mr. Mwala's table for a script. If, Mr. Speaker, at that point in time, and records speak here in this House, I fought vigorously the tabling of our names without a leave of the House, because the rules are such that if you are discussing the conduct of an MP, you need to move a substantive motion. But for that particular one, it went through smoothly as planned. But my point here, Mr. Speaker, the government or agencies, the police, did a thorough investigation, and they gave a temporary report a month later, which was tabled and is part of the records of this House. And they found that I was not culpable. I had never been involved in drug trafficking, and I had never been a driver of the Honorable Mao, as that dossier had said. I actually said, Mr. Speaker, on the floor of this House, that there is no need of anyone trying to do extradition proceedings to get me to travel to the US to answer these charges. I offered myself. They give me a one-way visa, and I'll take myself to any part of the world to answer charges of drugs. It's never happened. So the authors of that dossier probably didn't get exactly what they wanted, but what they got is messing with people's names. And that is the situation it is today. Mr. Speaker, it has continued to happen. People talking about you will find some of us are named Pablo, false names. But the truth be told is that I did take some people to court. If you remember, there was a program by Standard called something Mihadarati by Mheshimiwa from Nyali. And I did take them to court. It's taken long, about 8 or 9 years. But finally, I got judgment against them and I was paid a little bit of money. But circulation is still happening. This is something I am bound to live with for the rest of my life. But I do not do drugs. Thank you.